everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here on location in Victoria. What's this, our second day? Second full day?
Yeah.
Second full day in Victoria, and it's our last day in Victoria because tomorrow we leave for Nanaimo. Going to enjoy those bars. But anyways, thought we'd talk a little bit today about what we did, and mostly froze to death and walked up a lot of hills because Walter wants to kill me. That's the way he is with all of that. So let's see. We started off with a lovely brekkie here at Abigail's. We could have had our choice of their savory, which was an omelet, but it had smoked salmon in it. Well, you know me, I'm not eating that.
Well, I wasn't really feeling like that either. So.
No, I'm suppose we could have probably ordered it without the smoked salmon because it looked like, well, we saw it come out that the omelet had been wrapped around a piece of smoked salmon. But we had the sweet today, and that was French toast with strawberries, whipped cream, real whipped cream, and got a side of bacon with that. Actually, it was very good.
Maple syrup.
Oh, and maple syrup, real maple syrup. Well, we're in Canada. It's got to be real. None of that Aunt Jemima shit, or Mrs. Butterworth.
They don't call it Aunt Jemima.
No,
anymore.
that's right.
It's
That's
Pearl Milling Company.
Yeah, Pearl Milling Company, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, it was real. It was nice. The brekkies here every morning have been really good. Just come here for the brekkies.
Yeah, yesterday we had Eggs Benedict, and it was really good too.
Yeah. It's been very good. So then we decided to trundle out because we were going to the BC Museum. Yes. Well, that was not a thrill.
That was a letdown.
It was a major letdown. They
did tell us when we went in there that the Natural History Museum part was open, but the third floor was under reconstruction, and it's been like that for a year and a half.
Yeah, with no time when they're going to finish it in sight. But, they didn't say that meant that really all you're going to see is the natural history. We thought, well, okay, fine. So this floor is open. There must be more to it. And we started off with dinosaurs. No.
That was it.
That was it. It wasn't even, they can't call that dinosaur display.
No.
It wasn't anything. I mean, if someone was taking their kids there for dinosaurs, little boys love dinosaurs and the whole bit. Well, sadly, unless they wanted to read about dinosaurs or see some things that looked like rocks that had fossils in them.
The only thing they had was a replica of a mastodon or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it. Mammoth. They didn't have any skeletons or anything.
Nothing.
Like that.
No. It was piss poor. And then further on in the Natural History Museum, well, they talked about climate change.
Yeah.
And they talked about the Ice Age. And they talked about some bugs and about some fish. They did have an interesting little interactive area for kids, kind of a thing where you push buttons, none of them which worked. And controlled things, which basically threw up on a screen more stuff to read. Now, kids don't like reading about this stuff. They need to
Adults don't like reading.
No, they need to be more hands-on or at least some big visuals. But the one thing was they didn't rip us off as much as the Vancouver Art Gallery or what was the other place we went to that was a real rip-off in money? That was in Vancouver too. What was that we saw? I forget now. Well, anyways, look on the videos. You'll find it there. It'll come to me. Anyways, this was $11. Senior citizens, $11. Oh, the Science Center.
Yeah.
Science Center, yeah. This was $11 with the senior rate, which saved you $1. Was it $1 there?
No, actually, I think it actually saved us $7.
Oh, well, okay.
Because I think regular adults had to pay $18 for that sucker.
Well, that's more of a major ripoff. They did have an IMAX theater. We could have paid extra. I'm not sure how much more extra that was to go and see whatever.
It was $10.60 to see the IMAX.
Oh, good God. And it was something about animals and the 6 stages.
Well, it depends on what time of the day you wanted to go see it. It was a different topic at different times of the day. So
yeah, but we didn't. And I'm just happy we didn't. But anyways, yeah, it didn't take long to get through this thing, and I did purposely stop and read some of the stuff.
I think it took us 45 minutes to get through.
Well, we were dragging it at that. Like we were
Yeah,
making
and we
it
read
last.
a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, we were making it last. So we got out of there, and just as we were leaving, this whole bunch of kids came in. That must have been a
Little
school
kids.
trip. Little kids. So we, missed the bullet on that one, which is good. But I just can't imagine these kids being really fascinated by
No.
this stuff. Their attention spans are not that great. In fact, there was one guy standing there, and he was letting you like lift fossilized piece out of what they
a
think.
tusk from a mastodon.
Yeah, mastodon. And he goes, "Isn't that heavy?" Imagine if it was the whole thing. Okay, whatever. And then there was something. It was a tooth or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was sitting there. It's hard to tell what it was, but he was excited about it, though. Had to say that he was really excited about his fossils. Okay, so anyways, from there we decided to trundle out to where do we go next?
Oh, we went up to the store to where you wanted to buy.
Oh
the
yeah,
totem
I got my totem pole. Okay, and someone suggested that I might have a better chance of getting something that's a little nicer at the BC Museum gift store. They had little totem poles. They were black, no
They
color.
were, they were like
they
carved.
were carved out of. I don't know if that was soapstone.
Yeah,
Might have
it
been-
might have been soapstone, but it was. They were black. They didn't really look like a totem pole.
No, and they were 70. Well, the smaller one that I looked at was not 70. It was, I'm not sure what it was, 45, 50, something like that. I just wasn't too impressed. So anyways,
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of really great selection in the
No,
art
they
gallery,
didn't.
or
No.
the BC Museum. So
yeah, they got
they had a lot of
postcards.
stuff, but it was a lot of junk.
Yeah, and it's stuff that really has nothing to do with the museum.
Yeah.
Coasters that are done in native colors and designs and stuff like that. It's your usual kind of gift store kind of stuff from a museum. So we went off to where we go next?
Then we went. We were trying to go to the art gallery,
Oh,
right? And
Yeah.
we had to walk quite a ways. To
yeah,
get
I didn't
there.
know it was that far away, but it was a ways, and it's uphill all the way. Everything around here seems to be uphill.
Yeah,
I'm
so we
telling
went and walked and walked and walked, and I had checked earlier this week, and it looked like it was open most days at 10 a.m. or whatever, and I assumed today was the day.
But not today.
Not today. And today was open at 1 p.m. and we got there at noon.
Yeah. Now we were talking to a couple of ladies that seemed to be working the gift store or not the gift store, the art gallery, and they said to us, yeah, they were not open until 1. One was opening the door up for another one coming in with a box of things. And she said, but and we also have a planned power outage today too. Which I don't know if they were doing that planned power outage when it was going to be
Said
open.
they were currently having the plan.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. But they were open till 9 o'clock, and if you came like later in the
If you
evening
came after 5, you could get in
for a donation
for a donation.
of whatever you want to donate.
So, and then they were telling us about what the current displays were, and it sounded not too great.
No,
So, because I had read that they had Emily Carr there, but it didn't really sound like they had Emily Carr by the description. So,
nobody seems to have Emily Carr.
so I thought, well, that was a waste of time to walk up there. However, when we got up to there, about a block away from there, was this castle, right? Castle House,
Yeah,
right? Which was what was
was
the
it
name?
Craig Daroche? Craig Daroche is what they called the castle house. And while we were there, and it wasn't particularly cheap. Like, what was it? A person?
Craig DeRoche. Yeah,
Craig
castle.
Daroche.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was how much?
It
did you get?
was it was 1960 or something per person.
Was that the seniors or
That was the seniors. If you weren't senior, it was $1 more, 20, 60.
Ooh, wow.
Or something.
$1 off for being a senior. Ooh.
That you could tour the inside, and we debated because a lot of times they're not that exciting inside. But
This one was.
actually, this one was actually kind of.
This one was
worth it.
sort of worth it with it because there was a lot to see inside.
And they had a lot of stained glass windows, which
Yeah.
I'm interested in, and they were the original windows. Like there were a couple that had to be replaced, but most of them were original windows, which were really nice to see.
Mm-hmm. And actually, it was furnished inside with the period pieces. Some of the stuff was original to the home. Some of it was for the right time period. And it was interesting. The history of the family that lived there.
It was quite had quite a few stories too.
Yeah.
Like I mean, height wise, and you had a good overview of the city from that high top
Yeah.
of the castle.
And I did a lot of video of that actually, so you'll see that later on today too. So that one was sort of worth it to get there. And then we came back down the hills. Going down's not so bad. And back into the main part of the downtown kind of a thing. And we decided, well, maybe we'll just go and have a beer and some nachos. Yeah. Okay, so there were a couple of pubs. Okay, the things out here, I think we mentioned this in an earlier video. What they call a pub is not a pub.
Well, not a pub based on what we're
No.
used to. So, I mean, maybe it's a pub for them, but not for us.
No.
They don't usually have the selection of food that we're used to in a pub. And a lot of pubs in our area have nachos and stuff for appetizers. Well, it doesn't seem like all of them have that
No.
here. And if they do have it here, it can be quite pricey. So
Yeah, like the nachos we had today. So there's two places we looked at. We had looked at the Sticky Wicket, which is advertised as what, Victoria's largest bar. And
yeah, that's the one we went to.
yeah, that's what we went to, and it's huge. It's got many different areas, and it's inside of a hotel actually downtown. It's nice inside. It's it's got some character and whatnot. So we were between that and another one called the Irish Times. Well, we're looking at their menu online, and nachos at the Irish Times were $30 before you got any meat on them of any sort. So you're talking your $30 plus for nachos. We're not like, I know everything's gone up, and I know we're in a tourist district and the whole bit, but I have never ever been anywhere out in our end of the world where nachos are going to cost you $30 before you add any add-ons to it. Really.
The Sticky Wicket was 23.
It was 23. So we
Plus
decided,
an add-on.
but we had thought of going to the Sticky Wicket for dinner originally. And so anyways, we went to the Sticky Wicket. It still cost us $30 for nachos because it was $23 for the nachos. Plus we got chicken on the nachos, which was an extra $6. And we had 2 drafts each. And it was very confusing as to what you were going to pay for a draft because they had sleeves as opposed to pints. But they had pints if you got a
Imported beer.
And sleeve, but they didn't have pints for domestic beers. They only had sleeves. Well, sleeves are smaller than a pint. So we decided we'll just go with the...
Actually, the imported wasn't that much more.
No, it
than
wasn't
the
that much
Sticky
more
was.
money for it, but to get a pint. So we both had a couple of pints and the nachos, and with the tip, that one came to about $81. Yeah, for nachos. Although I will say this, the nachos were really good.
Yeah.
They did do nice nachos. So, and there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
To the point right now that we are stuffed.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're having for dinner tonight. Possibly a cookie. We still have one left over from the ones that they put in here in the room. And some potato chips. We have potato chips or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, that's basically what we did today. I think we have done
Victoria.
I think another day here we would just be bored.
Yeah.
We have seen, I think, really what you need to see. Have been ripped off from the places that you needed to be ripped off at. with it all. So yeah, it would be much nicer if the weather was nicer. And I'm not really saying I haven't enjoyed being in Victoria.
Actually, yesterday was very nice
Yeah.
because it was cool out, but it was sunny, and it was nice, and it wasn't windy. And today it's cool. It's not much different in temperature, but it's not sunny, and it's windy. Really
Very windy. And it's very chilly. When that
Yeah.
wind hits you, it's a bit of a, well, people are running around here wearing parkas and toques. Okay,
Yeah.
so it gives you an idea. We didn't bring our parka and toques for this trip, so our bad. But I'm not going to say that I haven't enjoyed Victoria. It was really nice to see it and everything. I think, though, my advice would be if you're going to come to Victoria, come in late May and onwards. I
Yeah.
think it would be much nicer weather-wise, but who knows? With global warming, who knows what's happening these days with all of that stuff. The accommodation we had is great. No
Yeah, I
complaints.
can't say too many nice things about this place. though.
Can't say too many nice things,
Well, I love to say.
or
I
can't say too many bad things.
Can't say too many
Whichever.
bad things.
Yeah, I would definitely, if I was ever to come to Victoria again, I would definitely consider staying here again for that. Yeah, if you want to do some shopping, they do have like an extensive downtown. There's
If you're a real shopper
Yeah.
or something, you might find stuff here.
Uh,
But I mean, we're not real shoppers, so.
so that. I don't know. I don't know what else to really say that you can do in Victoria. I'd like to be able to say check out the museums, but we've already been that route, haven't we? And we know how I feel about that. And I'm sure some of you will probably make some comments and make some
I mean, I
excuses.
think if the weather was a little nicer, you could relax a little bit in the parks and
Yeah.
and wander around a bit more leisurely. And
there's probably more, patios and things like that. I'm
that
sure.
will
I'm
really
sure.
be open. So.
And I'm sure that gives the whole place a totally different atmosphere than what we're experiencing now. But I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying what we have found. It's not put a damper on our holiday by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, we got a whole lot of exercise.
Yeah.
Holy crap, up and down. This is one hilly city. Okay, you're up and down hills all the time.
And the thing is we've walked all over the place.
Yeah.
We could have taken the car to the castle and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but we left it over there. So, I mean, we've done a lot of walking.
Yeah, well, we've been averaging, I don't know,
About 10 kilometers a day.
a day. Yeah. So yeah, we got our exercise with it.
Or what Americans would 6 miles a day. So
Yeah. I would suggest though, if you're somebody with mobility issues, not a city you want to be walking a lot in.
No, but you can easily take a car and,
Well, yeah,
and
you can.
park and so.
Yeah, there seems to be lots of parking around and whatnot. I don't know what the parking costs. We didn't look into it with it. But anyways, yeah. I mean, it's worth the trip to come to Victoria. I would just
It's
strongly...
a very pretty city.
A very
so.
pretty city. I would suggest you come in the more summer months here in Canada. Like I said,
Yeah.
June, July, and August, even September, probably lovely, absolutely lovely. I mean, there are flowers out here, as you've seen in my videos and things like that. But it's just that.
Yeah, the
wind and
tulips
cold.
are blooming, and any of the bulbs are blooming, daffodils and tulips. And
Crocus.
the more hardier flowers that can handle cold weather are blooming, but which looks kind of nice and fresh.
Yeah.
It's spring-like. The grass is very green.
Yep.
So it looks very nice here. Just if it was a tiny bit warmer, it'd be okay.
Yeah. But anyways, so that was today. This is April the 20th. Tomorrow we're up. We'll have our last brekkie at Abigail's. And then we're off to Nanaimo, and that's about an hour and 45 minutes drive.
We had talked about stopping at Butcher Gardens. We don't know if we're going to do that yet or not.
No,
If the weather's not good, then we'll probably skip it, because probably the only floral that'll be available in Butcher Gardens are probably like tulips and daffodils and
Yeah. It's
the
got
hardier
ones.
flowers, and of course the trees, cherry blossoms and that are in bloom and that too. So, I mean, that might be nice to see, but I'm not sure if it's worth our stop if it's like it is today.
You know, and it's not an inexpensive place to go to either as far as entry fees are concerned. I think it's about $40 a person.
Yeah.
So, you know, best enjoyed on a nice day, I think. But we'll see. We don't know. Things are...
Things are weird here because one day it says it's going to rain like crazy, and like today it was supposed to rain all day, but it's been dry since we've been here.
Yeah.
It sprinkled a little bit when we were out, but it's been dry, but it's been windy.
But
so.
really windy. Like more like a day felt more like late October, early November. Canadians, late October, early November. Well, our area of Canada, because in that time they could have snow in Alberta.
It'd be sort of like 45 degrees Fahrenheit and very windy, so
Yeah.
it's a bit chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly. So anyways, we're going to go to Nanaimo tomorrow. There are 2 quilt stores in Nanaimo. We may get to those. We'll see. And we're only spending one night in Nanaimo. One night? Yes, one night.
Right.
Yeah. And then we head back out on the ferry from Nanaimo on Saturday morning and drive back through Vancouver and down to what's that place called? Abbotsford. My brain is frozen. Okay, to Abbotsford, where my brother lives. So anyway, stay tuned for more videos about that. And yeah, check out now all the video I took today. It's coming up right after we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Choose around. Meet Buster. This is Mountain Dinosaur. Watch the animation and decide if each is true or false. Stand on the trapeze and think the answer is true.
At the end of the day, these are little characters.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, we're in the BC Museum and we're in the natural history section. We just finished the Son of the Dinosaurs. Actually, they didn't have any dinosaur bones up though.
Well, we haven't gotten
Well, maybe down in this section they do. We'll see. There's some big things in there. It's a woolly mammoth. Look, it's a bear.
That's kind of like.
Okay, something very weird in here. The acoustics under this, they blow back on you. So there's a bear. Is he a friendly bear? Ooh, sea things, sea lions.
It's all shell stuff.
I think they have to leave. I went to Victoria and got crabs. Okay, so we just finished the BC Museum. It's a disappointment as well. We didn't know this, but one whole floor of it is closed down for about a year and a half as they do something to it. So basically, essentially, that looks like it closed down half of the museum. We went to the natural history part, which is the only part set up, and there's videos here, as you can see, of that. And no, I'm really sadly disappointed in what BC has to offer when it comes to anything of educational value or cultural value. It is like everything, are they strapped for funding or what's going on? What we saw here was a very, very sad display, and you saw some of the pictures of it. Really disappointed in this completely. Now, we are talking about going to the art gallery that's here. I'm a little bit, worried that, is this another thing that's going to cost us money and it's got like one painting or something in it, or a lovely like couple of rocks piled on top of each other and that's all we're going to see? I don't know. Really, come to Ontario. The Royal Ontario Museum is well worth the money you will spend to see what's in it, because that's a museum. That's a museum. This,
And the art gallery.
This is
in
not-
Ontario, too.
and the Art Gallery of Ontario as well. Like, it's definitely, worth the effort too. But out here, very sadly disappointed. Okay, take a look at this sign. This is saying Dinosaurs of BC from April 17th, 2023 to January the 7th, 2024. That's what you saw on the first part of this video that we went through. Not worth the price of admission. Nothing to really look at. They've got some old fossils. Who hasn't seen fossils before? Nothing, really. It's like, and then we just saw a whole group of kids being taken in. Like, let's bore the children to death. If the kids want to see dinosaurs, they want to see dinosaurs. This was not dinosaurs. This was just a whole lot of verbiage about, finding fossils and climate change. Not worth the price of admission. Okay. Walter has dragged me up a lot of hills for this place, Craig de Roche Castle. And I don't know if it's worth it or not, but we're going to check it out and see.
It's $19.
Oh, bargain, is this seniors?
I think so.
Oh.
nah, there's not. So that's okay. I just wondered. But lots of it is.
And Walter Falls. Caught that on video. Well, I'm not carrying you, so you're on your own. Follow the arrows. I guess you just... No. At one point in time, this house was a military hospital, and it was also a college on actually Pierre Burton, one of our foremost Canadian historians. He was a resident here, and you can see they've left this room in its original shape. They didn't fix this up, so you can see the initials of students and their scratchings that they used to do when they were here, I guess in the window sill, or whatever you want to call this part of it. In this room, they've left as is, just to give you information about the whole place, but also this was apparently at one time the master bedroom for the lady of the house, and it did include, they thought, a bathroom too, but they're not going to restore this. They're leaving it pretty much just as it is, damage and all. And this is the billiard room, as you can see. I think those cookies are a little
This
stale.
is a patient ward in the hospital.
When it was a hospital?
Yeah.
Look at the peacock at the back.
They say you stay better on your credit card anyway, so.
Well, she's putting everything on her.
An example of some of the stained glass in this house. Most of the stained glass in this house is original. Some are not, but the majority of it is, and you can tell these are original. Take a view, look at the window. I think this is one of the turrets. So we're up in one of the turrets, I believe. This is the bathroom.
Oh, there you go.
Is that a flush?
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it is, yeah.
It must have been put in probably after.
Maybe. It's another room that hasn't been restored. So it's servants' quarters. And look at the sewing machine. It's a portable treadle. Well, not portable, but small little thing. That's a straight stitch.
Work days were 15 hours.
And look, there's a pattern open for making.
A dress.
Yeah, it looks like it. Top of a dress.
It looks like a little, might be.
Well, it looks like a sleeve in the front part. This is the smoking room. Okay, so that was Craig de Roche Castle, and actually probably the best find of the day so far, because that was kind of worth the money. It actually had stuff you could see, as you've seen by the video. So they've done a good job of restoring that, and it was kind of interesting. Sort of reminds you of Casa Loma in Toronto, except Casa Loma in Toronto has got nothing inside of it. It's pretty much done for banquets and for weddings and things like that. So it's a disappointment if you go to Toronto to see Casa Loma, because you're not going to see a heck of a lot. You're best to stay outside of it and just take pictures, because that's the main thing about it. And this one we thought could have been like that too, but it's not. It actually has been restored in many areas of it, as you saw in the video. And they've tried to put in things that were from the period piece and tried to restore things as close to the original as they may have been. So yeah, that one was worth the effort. Okay, we've stopped for some nachos and beer at the Sticky Wicket. And we were thinking of coming here for dinner earlier, sight unseen. We're kind of rethinking it, only just because, well, we've been here now. We'll see what the nachos are like. They're certainly not cheap. Nachos are like $23, and if you put any meat on that, well, basically you're talking $30, $29, $30.
Which is cheaper than
for
all
nachos.
that Irish Times Pub, because it was $29 for the base nachos.
Yeah.
Plus another $9 for meat.
And then they have a very weird way of doing beer. Yeah, it's just, you know, just a little different here. Don't know what it's all about, but I think mainly what it's about, it's the tourist dollar, which is to be expected, because that's probably their main trade here in Victoria. So, yeah, whatever. We'll see what these are like.